Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to OneHubRacing. This is season 18, and we are here at the Sochi Autodrome in Russia for round number 8 of the Pinnacle Tier Championship. We got a lot to talk about in this pre-race build-up, so we better get straight into it. My name is Jess, and joining me as per usual, we got Indecisive Mackie, also known as Matt. How you doing?
I'm very good. I'm looking forward to the whole permutations that we will talk about very shortly, but it's got the potential to be a classic race. It's not a classic track by any means, but as you saw down in Prospect, anything can happen, and especially in the world of F1, it very usually does.
Yes, we've seen quite a few people go from low down the grid to high up as well if people keep making a mistake like that. So anything can happen, like you said. Host the Russia Grand Prix since 2014, the circuit has remained unchanged in that time. Overtaking isn't that easy, but we've seen in other tiers, people can overtake without a problem. And it's one of those tracks as well where there's low tyre wear, so soft, medium softs could be an issue. But we could talk about that later on, as the championship could be decided tonight. Very unlikely, but it could if people make mistakes. So since I didn't have a chance to look at them because I was sorting out streams earlier on, I'm going to pass it over to Matt. We're not going to go through all of it because we don't have all day, but we're going to go through the majority of the permutations. So over to you, Matt.
Thank you very much. Right, has everyone made plans for tonight? Because you're going to be here a while I go through this. Right, so basically, if Netsky wins with the fastest lap, you have Noah, Josh, Jules, Calzo, Vienna, Khalifa, Tom and Glock are eliminated from championship contention. Larkin must finish 4th, Lakitu must finish 10th. If Netsky wins without the fastest lap, the same drivers will be eliminated. Larkin can then finish 5th, Lakitu 11th or 12th with the fastest lap. If Netsky finishes 2nd with the fastest lap, all those drivers are still eliminated. Glock needs to win in that case. Larkin must finish 6th. If Netsky finishes 2nd without a fastest lap, all the drivers Noah, Josh, Jules, Calzo, Vienna and Khalifa are eliminated. Tom needs to win in that case. Glock must win then or finish 2nd with the fastest lap. Larkin needs to finish 6th or 7th with the fastest lap. And of course, if Netsky finishes 3rd with the fastest lap, then basically Tom needs to win, Glock 2nd, Larkin must finish 8th. Netsky 3rd without a fastest lap. It pretty much remains the same there, but Khalifa must win with the fastest lap for that to happen. Tom 2nd, Glock 2nd or 3rd with the fastest lap, Larkin 9th or 10th with the fastest lap. If Netsky finishes 4th with or without the fastest lap, it doesn't do much for Noah, Josh, Jules, Calzo and Vienna. They're all eliminated anyway. Khalifa does need to win though in that case. Tom 2nd, Glock 3rd and Larkin in 10th. 4th without fastest lap, Noah, Josh, Jules, Calzo eliminated. Vienna needs to win with the fastest lap. Khalifa must win also. Tom must finish 2nd or 3rd with the fastest lap. Glock 3rd or 4th fastest lap. Larkin 11th or 12th with the fastest lap. So not much pressure on Larkin today. He can pretty much just keep going, but the pressure's on all the other guys. Netsky 5th with the fastest lap. Calzo, Jules, Josh and Noah eliminated. Vienna, Khalifa must win, so both of them can't win, so one of them will also be eliminated in that case. Tom must finish 3rd, Glock 4th, Larkin must score points. I guess that's another fancy way of saying 11th or 12th. If Netsky finishes 5th, without the fastest lap, you have the same permutations, Noah, Josh, Jules and Calzo eliminated, though Vienna must win, Khalifa 2nd, Tom 3rd or 4th with the fastest lap, Glock must finish 4th or 5th with the fastest lap. That's pretty much all the way down. Wherever Netsky finishes, they must do certain things, but say if Netsky finishes 12th, which hasn't happened often this season, but if it does, Noah and Josh must win with fastest lap, Jules must win, Calzo must finish 2nd, Vienna then must finish 5th, Khalifa 6th, Tom must finish 9th or 10th with the fastest lap, Glock must finish 11th or 12th with fastest lap. And if Netsky doesn't score, and of course there are permutations in and around that which we'll get to later, I just don't want to keep everyone forever, Noah, Josh and Jules must win if Netsky doesn't score, Calzo 2nd, Vienna must be 5th or 6th with the fastest lap, Khalifa must finish 6th or 7th with fastest lap, Tom must finish 10th or 11th, and Glock must score points. And with that, I will run through the driver standings now as they stand at the beginning of play today. You have Netsky leads with 94 points, Lakitu 2nd after last week's, well, I guess his intermittent form of late has put him second with 71 points, and then you have Locke in third with 63 points. Glock is in fourth with 52. Just behind him is Tom Hart in the Renault with 50 points. Khalifa sixth with 46. Then Vienna seventh with 44. Calzo eighth with 37. Jules has 34 points in ninth, and Josh 10th with 33. Noah also has 33, and you have Rafa 29, Toxic 25, Arna 23, Conzo 20, Cliffy 11, Kyle 8, Fatality 5, J-Luke 2, and Chris has 1 point.
There you go. You could take a little bit of a breather there, Matt. Well, great job there. So we'll do the constructors, actually, because we still got a bit of a constructors fight on our hand as well. We've got, potentially, I would say, 5 or 6 constructors that could still mathematically claim the constructors title. So we'll go through them. So Renault are leading with 133 points. Second, Mercedes, 119. Third is Ferrari with 99 points. Fourth is Alfa Romeo with 96. Fifth is McLaren with 83 points. Sixth is Red Bull with 79 points. Seventh is Haas with 38 points. Eighth is Racing Point with 35. Ninth is Williams with 31. And 10th is AlphaTauri with 10 points. So Williams doing a not bad job at the moment, and jumped AlphaTauri. They were last place, Williams. Now they're in ninth position, so always good. And we'll go through the results from last week. Netski took a win, which extended his driver's championship lead, as Matt was alluding to earlier on. Tom R got his, I think it's his second podium of the season, I believe, in P2. Lakitu in third, Noah in fourth, Calzo in fifth, Khalifa in sixth, Josh in seventh, Larkin in 8th. We got a bit of a rivalry with Khalifa and Larkin, which we'll go through a little bit later on. Glock in 9th, Cliffy 10th, Conzo 11th, Arnold in 12th. And the fastest lap went to Noah and Vienna, inside and outside the top 10 respectively. And your drive of the days, well, there were 2 of them because it was tied in votes, which was good to see. It was Cliffy and Netski. So well done to both of them. So just in time, actually, as we're about to get underway with the qualifying. Only 14 drivers at the moment in time, but still I think it's going to have some great entertainment at the moment. Dry qualifying as we speak. 1 person on the meme, so I think that probably means we got a dry start to the race as well. And I think it's very important really to not invalidate around here, because it's one of those tracks, Matt, where if you get penalties, especially if their safety cars are on the way, you could be in a lot of trouble.
Yes, I mean, it's very tricky to not get them in certain areas of the track, especially coming into turn, well, I call it turn 1 because, you know, the King's not really a turn, but by FIA guidelines, I suppose it is turn 1. I just can't bring myself to call it that. The first big braking zone anyway. If you leave it a little bit too late and go wide, you get invalidation there, or a warning in the race, and of course if you turn in slightly too early. But that's not the only place. You have quite a few corners where that could happen as well, so you need to be very much on it from lap 1 today, and especially in qualifying you need to be very, very careful not to invalidate.
Yes, and you do not want to have some issues in the race as well. And you may have noticed that Jules is not here tonight, and I think that was one Stuart's report, I believe, from last week, and that was basically Jules was retiring on purpose in the race, and we caught that on stream, and one of the drivers did report that to the stewards, even though we reported it to the stewards as well. So we got it from both ends, and because of that, Jules has now got a race ban for the incidents he'd had earlier on in that race as well as a quali ban for the next race he attends. So that's why he's not racing tonight, of course. And he's already on so many penalty points right now, so that is not good. I don't think Pinnacle's at the harsh point system yet in terms of penalty points. I think 3 out of the 5 are at the harsher penalty system. Pinnacle is not one of them, so it's showing that apart from certain drivers, not naming names, but you can guess who, it's good to see that we're not quite at the stage where these drivers will be given harsh penalty points due to that. So that's great to see, I think.
Yeah, it's always good to see that a tier can get its stuff together and not breach the harsher penalty limits, but of course this track is notorious for wheel-to-wheel racing, and we could well see that evolve in some incidents tonight. We hope we don't, but of course that is always a possibility, especially in this tier where they think that they need to be winning the race at turn 1 for it to matter, and I've seen that several times this season, and I think that's the biggest issue, as Kyle is facing the wrong way there, and he can't get going because his car's coming, so he's got to wait for those. Very nicely done. And it's very easy to panic because the game will disqualify if you're stationary for too long, but he's done that pretty tidily, so congrats to him for that.
Yes, so he's played it safe, I think, with that, so that's great to see. They could have not been worse, but he's almost hit the wall there. Be careful, Kyle, and he's damaged his front wing as well, and he's one of our cold drivers this week in the hot and cold list. And the media said to him, trying hard but just can't figure out how to go forwards enough to get rewarded with points. He hasn't scored many points this season, and the AlphaTauri team, obviously, that's why they're last, because they haven't scored many points. So Carl needs a miracle in order to get off the cold list this week. But who knows with Russia? Anything can happen, of course. And we've got on the hot this week, obviously, we've got a championship leader, Netsky. Can anyone stop him this season? Perhaps he's using last season's disappointment and coming up short to power him to his championship. But I've got to agree, I can see he was more motivated in the last few weeks because he knew that he just missed out last season. And he's kind of like a Nico Rosberg in a way. Like, he lost out a few seasons, and then obviously this season he's determined to come back without a fight. But yeah, he's now the one who's not being... he is being chased. He's actually the leader. So great to see him doing so well after just missing out in the championship in Japan.
Yeah, it was quite a solid season for him, and of course our reigning champion Lakitu. It was always nip and tuck between the two, and it was always going to be a matter of who got the better result on the day would end up lifting the trophy. But having said that, I've seen similar traits this season, but Nesky's had much better racecraft than he did last time around, so I think that's definitely spurred him on a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll talk about the action zones as well for this track whilst we ride on board with some people on their lap. So turn 1, obviously the race start could be dangerous with the right kink, of course. Turn 3, which is the first braking zone when you get onto the lap, and lots of people do overtakes there. Hopefully no one does a Carlos Sainz and Roman Grosjean when they go into the wall there, so fingers crossed we do not do that. Turn 3, high speed left-hander, motiony corner on the circuit. If people lose the power there and don't have smooth movements with the wheel, then they could be in a lot of trouble there. And we also got turn 13, which is the heavy braking zone, which Larkin had just gone past now after DRS straight, which I can see is a braking zone. We have to slow the car down from top speed whilst turning left to set the car up for the slow right turn ahead. And obviously we've seen a few drivers get it wrong. I've done it almost a few times in Prospect. Well, I almost binned it. Luckily I did save it just in time, but I'm sure a few drivers will probably get it wrong tonight. Only quite a few drivers are in the pits right now, but it is Netsky on pole position with a 129.2. Expect lap times to be, I think, roughly about that, maybe the 128 if we're lucky, but I'm sure these drivers are on their banker laps for now, as Larkin is about to start his lap pass into turn 2, hooking it very, very nicely right now as he gets past into turn 3. You got to most thrilling part of the circuit really when you make the move into turn 4, as Lewis Hamilton has demonstrated quite a few times. I was going to carry on board with his hot lap map, but he has invalidated.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tricky when you do that, but that is a prime example of what I was talking about a few moments ago. It's very tricky, and you just have to pinch the corner at the wrong time for it to matter. But I think if you do that in the race, you might get away with it a few times. But talking of Lewis Hamilton, he seems to get away with it a lot in races. But yeah, it's still looking quite tidy. I think Locke is just experimenting where the grip is. He's still going for it to see what he could have done, or maybe set himself a little bit of a delta before he goes again later in the session. But he has opened the DRS, and he's at that tricky corner now as he approaches the braking zone. Does that pretty nicely, and he must be asking himself, why can't I do this when I'm on an actual lap that matters? I'm sure we've all done that at some point as well, but he's into the tricky, twisty section at the end of the track, and I think he may well bear right just to go into the pits, and he will not do that. I'll look foolish again. He's going to go again after this final corner, but I think he's just seeing you get his eye and see what he can do. 29.9 would have put him P5 or 6.
Yeah, that's not too bad from him as well. But I didn't actually see where he invalidated. It may have been turn 4 actually, which is quite common as well, as Fatality is now joining the session. So we're now to 15 drivers instead of 14. So that's all good news. And don't forget, we've got the TASBot today, which I think is going to be more prevalent than ever in the chat. If you want to do !help, and if you want to find out basically where they would be in the championship if they were in that position, you could do !position champ and then space and then the basically the position your favourite driver is in, and then it will tell you how many points they would score. So it'll probably give you an idea if Netsky could claim the title as well. But I'm almost certain it's going to go to next week anyway. But it's good to have the permutations just in case, because you never know. The Keita could have a bad result like he did in Austria. He's going to hope that there's no rain, which it doesn't look like it at the moment. But you never know what could happen, of course, as it should be interesting to see.
Yeah, talking of interesting, Toxie's just popped it on provisional pole by a 10th exactly over Netsky, and yeah, that's got to give him some confidence. He hasn't had the best of seasons as Toxic. He's found it hard going at times, but talking of hard going, you can't get much more hard going than Cliffy. He's always trying, bless him, but he just can't seem to get in the regular points, but he's always quick towards the end for that reason. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how every corner matters in this race, especially for the championship permutations, and I think it's definitely going to the final race. I'm sure of it. It must do. They've been so close for a few seasons now. I would be surprised if it is over before then. That's okay. You can't help technical problems. Of course, technical problems appear at the worst possible time, but Noah's not on a lap at the moment. I think he's made a mistake and backed off somewhere. He has done a 29.9, so he's sitting in P4 at the moment, so I think he's just possibly recovering back to the pits to go again later on in the session as we tick just under the 7-minute mark. Cliffy is out there as well, but he has invalidated his first run, but he is going to go again. 29.3 would have put him in P3, so that shows exactly how fast Cliffy can be on his day, but unfortunately it's not always been his day this season, but he's still there and he's still going to be trying hard, and that is great to see. And J-Luke has just started another lap. He's approaching the first big braking zone. Can he keep it tidy through turns 1 and 2? Yes, he can, just about. On another day he may well have invalidated there, but you need to practice to get that line absolutely perfectly correct. Now into the next braking zone, clips the apex, gets a little bit wide on exit, a little bit of the loose rear end, but keeps it nonetheless. And now he's lost a little bit of time through there, but he's finally getting a sector on the board, so he knows exactly what he's pushing towards. And that's another tricky moment for him on exit there, and I think he's just, there we go, he's invalidated now. He's always trying that line, and sometimes you push your luck a little bit too far, but I think now he knows where the line is, he will nail his final lap of the session.
I don't know what's happening to the Elgato audio at the moment, so I'm doing my best to fix it. I'm trying, but I literally don't know what the problem is right now, so you're going to probably have to deal with it just for a second whilst I try and sort it. But yeah, we've got Mercedes 1-2 right now with Toxic and Netsky, of course, which I'm very, very, very impressed with, of course, because obviously the constructors could not be decided tonight, but obviously Toxic would need to get a much better result tonight if he wants to improve, of course, as Lark is about to start his lap. Hopefully he won't invalidate this time. Vienna's also now in the session as well. I thought he wasn't going to join, so that's always good news when someone joins the session in plenty of time. So that's great to see, of course. Another driver that I think would have been in the championship fight if he didn't have some unlucky incidents, I would say.
Yeah, not only is he in the session, I think he's just gone purple through Sector 1, so he's definitely in the session, and he's here to make some good noise, and he's here to do a job. But let's see if he can keep that up. As Taz doesn't say he's purple, but the game does, so one of them is wrong. Probably the game. He's not too far off though. He's pretty quick through Sector 2 as well. So he should well be up there inside the top 6 or 7, I would think, with this time. But I'll stay on board with him and find out what he does as he comes around. Oh, he's had a bit of a moment, and that's just going to ruin everything. I've just said. It's happened again.
Yeah, you jinxed him there, Matt. How pleased you are with that? Yeah, I think we both jinxed him, to be fair, as we both talked about him, and there we go. It just happened there. It's weird that the stream is actually picking up the mic crackling, but when I can hear you, I can't pick up the mic crackling, so I don't know what's happening with the stream right now, so I do apologise, but I think Larkin has invalidated again as I said that, so again, another commentator's curse there, unfortunately, but we'll speak a bit about the drivers' press conference, I think, this week as well, with Toxic, and the question he was asked: you're witnessing quite a championship battle from the other side of the garage at least, but still have a chance of Chris actually bins it. Let's not go on board with Chris, let's go on board with someone else. There we go. But you still have a chance of making a championship double. What will you be doing to try and ensure this will be a reality? There's no secret this season's been quite poor. It's also seen some quite unlucky moments last week, whereas ERS was stuck on. I did not know that. Sometimes you could have that on this game. And blame Codemasters, not anyone else. Hopefully for the last few races you can string together some good results to help Netsky wrap up the drivers and for Mercedes to close another constructors. I think it's almost certain Netsky could get the drivers, but you never know what can go right or wrong in terms of that. So we'll have to wait and see. As Cliffy is doing the tradition of starting near the back, as he always does. He's doing like what Demon does in Prospect. As what happened?
Oh, sorry, as you're talking, Chris nearly crashed into the pit lane. That was a scary moment, but he's managed to recover, but he has broken his wing there. So we'll see what happens. I don't think he'll be able to get back out with that broken wing now. I think he's going to start at best 5th place, so that's a bit of an error that's cost him there. But yeah, Cliffy, he's going for the fantasy points, and now I've picked him. Let's see him do well in the race, but he's got qualifying to finish first of all.
Yeah, 2 minutes to go of qualifying then, and we've got quite a few gaps as well to be made, and I'm going to be getting Taz open myself so I can actually see who is best in what sector at this moment in time. But, you know, Lakeith's looking quite good, the Mercedes looking quite good. I almost picked Noah for Drive of the Day last week, kind of regretted it, to be honest, because Noah is probably been the one that's been the dark horse of this season so far, and probably could be a challenging contender next season on the new game, because obviously there may be new handling on the game. He's currently sitting 11th in the championship standings, which is, to be honest, pretty good going, as he's about to start, I would say, his final lap, as a few drivers are as well. And I think there was a few questions, I would say, in the pre-race interviews on how they can cope with, especially the starts. Netsky says starts have been for the best for him, especially with his teammate as well. Toxic had a very good start last week. And Glock also has good starts as well. I'm trying to see who else. Tom Robbo said with a tricky turn 1, his initial starts have been decent, but in some races such as China he got swamped after one mistake. Happened to both of us a few times. I think the only track I had a good start and actually tried for it was Canada. All the others I just either had rubbish starts or get a rubbish start on purpose. But I think that's what Cliffy's going to probably try and do. As Cliffy's not even trying, as he's slowing down a bit into turn 2 there as well. But it's 25 seconds on the clock, as Toxic's not going to get a lap in, as he is invalidated. So that is his qualifying done and dusted.
Yep, definitely, and his blue light is flashing, so that is him done for the session. Nesky, of course, is also further back, but he is on a lap, and let's see if he's going to go quicker as he's approaching the big DRS opportunity in Sector 2 into Sector 3 with the tricky, you need to bear left, brake, and then turn right, and it's very, very easy to overshoot or get that wrong. But Nesky's gone quicker through Sector 2 than he's been before, so you could well be seeing him close up and possibly take pole position off of his teammate. But can Lakita respond? He is on a lap. He's just started a lap, so we'll come to him later on. But for now, we'll stick on board with Netsky, who is one of the big players in this tier. And let's see if he can keep it tidy round the final corner, pretty much on the limit, and goes purple 28.9, and that is going to take some beating.
That is going to take some beating, I have to say. Wow, that is incredible. But we'll see if anyone's about to finish a lap. Tom Markov's crossed the line. P3 for him. Next is the other Mercedes of Toxic. He's in the pits. He's no longer taking any further part in qualifying. Next across the line will be Khalifa. 130.1, and he comes across the line in 6th. Maybe that slide potentially costs him there. Then we've got Calzo, who comes across the line. That is P13 for him. Then we've got, I think it's teammate. No, it's not his teammate. It's either Konzo or Larkin, but I'm not entirely sure. Larkin comes across the line in 7th position. And I think that is it for qualifying. And we've got Netsky on pole with a 1-2. First person to get into... I can't remember what time it was actually, as the results have popped away from me, unfortunately. But yeah, first person, an early person into the 128. So we'll go through your results quickly. Netsky, Toxic, Tomar, Lakitu, Noah, Khalifa, Glock, Larkin, Chris, Arnad, Fatality, Carl, J-Luke, Konzo, Vienna, Konzo, and Cliffy. Konzo and Cliffy did not set a representative lap time, and they will be starting at the back of the grid. Of course, don't forget, I think Jules, will be eliminated either way tonight because he's not here, but there's still plenty of people that could close the gap to Netsky tonight in order for them to stay in the championship fight. Of course, it'll be interesting to see what everybody, I think, makes of this as well, but I'm really excited to see how this is going to unfold.
Yeah, this has got the makings of a really good classic race here, and with all these different permutations, every position Netsky gains or falls can change the championship picture drastically. But of course, Netsky won't be bothered by that. He's just got to stick to his own race. It looks pretty overcast, so we could well have rain today in this tier as well, and that could be something that could change it. And if you pull off a master strategy, you could find yourself going from the back to the front, or if you get it wrong, from the front to the very back. And of course, you never really know who that's going to happen to, and when you get it right, you look a hero, and if you get it wrong, your chances are you go, I was never up for anything anyway, I had to try something different. So I think all these drivers will have everything covered, but I cannot wait to see the beginning of this race and see how it all unfolds today.
Do you know what? I'm very, very excited as well. I think it's going to have lots of great and fantastic action for the drivers to contend with as well. So I'm gonna reload, I think, my Elgato to see if that fixes the audio stuttery problem at the moment. Apologies about that, guys. But yes, we have got, I think, 16 drivers with us today, with Netsky, your championship leader. The key to, I think, will need to get a win tonight if he wants to pretty much have really good hopes on pretty much getting the championship fight over to Brazil, which can be possible. It can definitely be possible. We'll just have to wait and see what we could do, of course. But never knows what could happen around here, as I think we've got stuff sorted. So hopefully Matt's audio is a lot better. I can definitely hear him clearly now, so hopefully he should be all right. So a few information about the track then. 5.8 kilometres long. It has 18 turns, 6 to the left, 12 to the right. Clockwise circuit, and the tyres that we got on offer today is the C4s, the C3s, the C2s. Softs can last 15 laps, so pretty much half of this Grand Prix. Mediums can last 22 laps, and hards can last 30 laps. And so it's either going to be, I would say, soft, soft, medium, soft, or medium, soft. It depends on what the drivers are going to do. And out of all the drivers right now, everyone outside the top 10 has gone for mediums. I'm not surprised, apart from Cardo, who's gone for softs.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it on a few streams in the past. If you're 11th, you might as well see what the leaders are doing and stick with them, because that could also prove a benefit, especially at the start. But around this track, I really don't know if it's a massive incident on lap 1. I hope there isn't, but if there is, then these medium runners could be very well placed indeed. But if nothing bad happens, then they're going to have the opportunity to go forward later on in the race. And yeah, there's different strategies to win it. Don't know what the weather's going to be, but it's looking very, very overcast ahead. So it could rain towards the end of this race, could rain towards the middle. You never know with this game. It might not rain at all, even if it's promised. It's a mixed bag, and this is going to get good.
Yes, let us know in the chat if the Elgato audio is okay now, because if not, I think you're probably going to have to live with the stuttering, unfortunately. But yes, I'll need to start Tad in a second as well, but I'll do that as they're about to start lap 2, as we've had quite a few issues, unfortunately. As who's in the run? I think it was Calzo that joined midway through, I think, and then we've got the Haas, which was fatality. So I will change those. Ready to go. Let us know your predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win the race? And we had the issue, I think, in Monza, I think it was, where it was overcast in some places, and then we thought it was going to rain, but yeah. Hopefully that's not going to happen. No, and I doubt it's going to rain, but we will see. Anyway, the 5 red lights are coming on your screen now. Netsky on pole, Toxic alongside him, and it is lights out, and away we go. And it's going to be a long run into the right kink of turn 1. We got Toxic already pressuring Netsky into turn 2 now. Let's see how they can manage this. It's going to be a very, very hard to get their braking zones right, as someone almost did a Carlos Sainz from a year ago, but luckily no such quarrels at the moment. We got Glot being pressured by Khalifa's already front end plate missing. I'm not entirely sure who that is, and good news, the audio has been sorted, so I think it was my Elgato that was messing up. Thank goodness it's not now, but yeah, Larkin up into 7th. Khalifa's gained some positions as well. Tom R has dropped down to 4th, and Lakitu has gained up into 3rd place, so already good way to kick off his can win his championship hopes. As you can see, Netsky in front of him, as Toxic has retained the lead of this race. So we got VSC. Oh, that must have been Vienna that's had a bit of a spin. Oh, that's a damaged front wing and a half.
Yep, that's certainly a lot of damage, but look ahead, J-Luke's also got damage as well. I'm wondering if they've had a bit of a coming together, because they are running right at the back, but has Fatality got damage too? Taz does say that Arnott has a damaged wing as well, but I didn't see it when I was on board with him, so it must be I just didn't get the right angle. But yeah, that's a lightning start for some of these drivers, but Lakitu had a great start, and he's up into P3, which is where he wants to be, at least next to his championship rival.
Yeah, Tom R goes into the pits. Quite a few people taking advantage of the VSC, and since the tyre degradation is not too bad around here, I completely understand on why, as DRS is enabled. I wonder if it's just the game playing havoc. I'm sure we're on lap 2 at the moment, so but most people are coming in, apart from Netsky, Lakitu, Konzo, Fatality, Toxic, Noah, Block and Calzo. So if that was a VSC or a safety car that lasted long enough, I would have definitely took advantage of the pit stop and done it if it was out long enough, because you would have gained so much more time if you done that. You would have lost less time in the pit stops as well, out of the ones who still yet to pit. So very, very interesting indeed. We'll see how Tom R does as the leading people on the safety car, as well as Khalifa, Larkin, Arnard and Chris as well. So yeah, interesting strategies. I like this.
Yeah, it's always good to have options in the back, like I said at the top, but it's definitely wise to try and take advantage of a virtual safety car, because you lose less overall time in a pit stop, and you probably get that back later over people that didn't pit under the virtual. But Netsky's all over the road with rear sort of sliding issues, and that is going to spur the Keto on even further as he gets back up to speed after the virtual safety car is over. And I think if I now DRS is enabled, thank you game. We're on lap 3 again, but this time it's for real.
Yeah,
I don't know why he does that.
Finally for real as well. And guess who's nearby in the on the track as well? We've got Larkin, who is trying to chase up to Khalifa in the Red Bull, and they were called up in the rivalries, I think, earlier on in the week. Interesting answers there as well. Khalifa was asked, has Larkin perhaps blown his best chance of the championship? He said he doesn't think so. Larkin's definitely one of the quicker guys in the tier, but I don't think he ever stood a chance against the likes of Netsky and Lakitu. And Larkin was asked, has Khalifa regressed this season? And he said, I won't say he's regressed, but there are times where I forgot he's even in the Pinnacle tiers. He's that far behind me. Whoa, Larkin getting very spicy over Khalifa there. So, very intriguing to say the least. Khalifa being, I think, a bit more nice. Larkin is actually getting his head down. Actually wanted to start a bit more of a rivalry. So, that's what rivalries does to you.
Yep, especially when the pressure's on, you just, feel free. It's every driver has the same opportunity if they're called up. It's what it's for. Instead of, just not answering it at all, which some drivers choose to do as well, that's fine. But Netsky, again, seems to be having a little bit of an issue in the third to last corner, and that is going to spur Lakitu on even further. As you can see, if he's close enough, he will be able to get alongside him into the final corner and possibly get ahead. But at the moment, Lakitu, Chris has retired. I don't know where that is. Let's try and find out.
Safety car!
That's a big one.
That's turn 10, I think it is. Let me just...
Yeah.
Yeah, that was turn 10. That was turn 10, okay. So, yes, an early safety car. I think, so the ones who had pitted on the VSC, I think they must be grinning right now because they've already done one stop. Would they gamble and go on the hard tyres to get those two stops out the way nice and early? Because it pretty much the hards, I'm just doing the math, the hards could pretty much last the whole race. So it is not, it's not, I'm just thinking, because there's 27 laps, hards could last 30. So if I were you, if you pitted, and that's what Larkin doing, Larkin must be watching the stream, so Larkin does need to stop again.
Yeah, I was just wondering if people at the back, even if they are on mediums already, you could definitely see a case for some of them putting the hards on, and possibly some of the front runners may stick the hards on and then pit later on in the race where they have to anyway. So there's definitely options for everyone to do that, but whether they take up the option or stick on their standard strategy is always going to be cause for a headache for some people, especially the strategy boffins that they may be working with to help them try and win. But if I were Lakitu, I'd do the opposite of Netsky right now.
Yeah, I would as well. Respond to whatever happens right now as well. But you are going to lose out either way. So, obviously, if I were to do two stops, go for the mediums now and then soft at the end. But if you only got to do one more stop, if I were you, I would pit now and get hards on. And then it will definitely go to the end. And then, obviously, you have more flexibility. If there's like another safety car, or you never know, there could be rain. So, it is an openness for strategy, of course. But anyway, so we've got, is Khalifa going to come in and go in hards? Nope, he's not. I don't think Carl is going to, but I don't see why they're not, because they may have not read the tyre day. I don't think the hards would have been, they probably don't like the hards around this track, that's why some of them have not gone on to those tyres. Here we go, Calzo, Kondo and Fatality going to the pits. They go on softs. Would you have done that?
No. I would have gone for the hards, because I know that I would have done my mandatory stops, or I would have changed it up a little bit. But talking of pit stops, Lakitu has managed to jump Netsky, and he's now in P2 of this race, and that is a brilliant pit stop for the Ferrari people. I'm not sure what happened to Netsky. I think he may have been held behind his teammate, which is why he's now dropped to P5 on the track.
Yes, and it's now a chance for people to warm their tyres. Maybe people not chosen the hards, because obviously it's hard to warm up in here, and due to the overcast conditions, I can understand why. So it will be hard to get up to temperature, hard to possibly, more than likely, more of a chance to go into a spin around here, around these hards. I don't like the hards around there. They're understeery as anything. I was about to say something else, but I'll get told off if I say something else. Yep. I was about to swear, as I think someone commentated from Point almost did. And I don't want to be the one that actually does it. So there we go. Anyway, going back to the session, and I think it won't be that long before we see some action again. I think we're just waiting for a few more drivers to go in and catch up to the safety car as well. We'll look at positions gains while we're at it as well. So we've got Toxic, Lakitu, Noah and Glock all gained 1 position each. Netski's dropped down 4, Calzo's dropped down 9, Calzo's gained 9, sorry. Konzo 6, Kyle 2, Fatality 7, Cliffy's gained down 1, everyone else either stayed where they are or dropped a few positions, and Fatality was hoping we were going to have a restart, but unfortunately we are not going to get a restart, as Calzo goes into the pit lane, and so does Konzo. I'm guessing they're going on to the hards then, so they could get a different tyre compound. We'll see, or maybe the mediums. We don't know on this track. It could be a viable strat. This is throwing the strategy wide open once again, because you can do it because the safety car is still going and it could still be like a similar position. So I don't know what the right strategy is at this point. It's very unpredictable. It reminds me of I don't know, it reminds me of plenty of mistakes that Rosberg did in 2014 where there was a lock-up with the tyres due to the fact that he was on older tyres, and that cost him a little bit. So we may have a similar situation here with people that have stayed out. I think Carl's the only driver that stayed out as well as Khalifa, so they're going to be on the back foot, but they may be seeing things that we're not, so we'll see. And don't forget, the Khalifa definitely needs a good result today in order for him to stay in the fight, but to be honest, he's probably glad that he's still in the top 10 in this league.
Yeah, he is. It's like, I don't know what happened. He's just not had a great season. He's been trying, it's just not gone right for him, and he's probably not the only one. But if you don't like the hard tyres, you should try using them in the wet. That was smart, wasn't it? Who would do that?
Yeah, I was a bit intrigued on why you did it, but to be fair, we didn't know when the rain was going to resolve. So to be honest, we none of us knew which of us was on the right strategy. But you know, quite difficult in any conditions. And speaking of rain, we're not going to get any rain. It's going to be like Monza all over again, because you can see the sun really starting to peep up a little bit. So looks like the conditions are going to get hotter and hotter. I'll look at Taz now to see the track temperature. Track temperature 29 degrees, air temperature 19. And I'm seeing if I got, and it rose 1 degree just a moment ago, just by the sun peeping out. So there we go. That's what the track conditions do for you. The air temperatures pretty much stay the same.
Yeah, and the safety car is in this lap, so you see Toxic just warming up his tyres for the final few moments, and that's not going to help Glock. He's got a penalty for a collision with Noah, and that's not great, as they're in the fight for the final podium position, but that's going to hamper everything, and Toxic has to wait as long as he possibly can before he goes. But he has to go now. It's around the final corner, and the restart is go. But let's see if anyone can jump anyone at the end. Nevsky's going to be all over the back of Glock. I'm just wondering if Noah or Glock picked up any damage in that little collision there. Taz isn't saying anything, but doesn't mean that they don't have damage. But no one has moved. Yes, he has. Nevsky's trying to force his way through down the inside, and he makes it just about another issue. Oh no, that's not great for him.
Our championship contender already down in 16th. Could this be the night where the championship is decided, all because of Lakitu spinning? Lakitu needs to finish 10th tonight in order for him to stay in the fight. He'll be eliminated if he's not careful. That is disastrous, actually. That is awful. Now I'm going to get the permutations up again so you could be kept up to date. So obviously Netsky is third right now, and we've got some huge battles at the moment, as Jamie was very glad probably that the safety car has come out as well, because he's on the hards. He doesn't have to pit again, I don't think, as he goes side by side with Larkin. There's also Calzo as well, heading towards turn 13, one of the action zones of the track. Then can he hold fire, because any one of these drivers I think could score points. That's how potentially how close these drivers are at this moment in time, on lap 7 at the moment. And we know the penalties could make or break a driver's race as, let's see, Fatality in a good run for the points. Carl as well. If he keeps it up as well, obviously he will be in a chance for very good points, but I do believe he will need to stop one more time, as does, I think, Arnold and Vienna. Most people, I think, will need to stop one more time. I think there's a few drivers that don't need to stop again because of the VSC, but you can see Tom having a beautiful run in turn 3, trying to get past Fatality. In turn 4 on the inside, maybe? No, not quite, but this is fantastic fighting, I have to say, between these two as well. They could all be gunning for their best result in a OneHub, which will be probably easier said than done for some people, but most people are just playing it by ear at the moment. So Lakitu, I think Lakitu is fine, even if he finishes lower down. I think he would still be in the fight. If I don't know, it's hard to tell. Yeah, I think if Netsky finishes third, I think Lakitu would still be in this championship fight, but only just. As Tom R gets past Fatality. Oh, a bit of a love tap there. But you have to take risks in OneHub, and Tom R definitely took that risk there.
Yeah, but it's not so bad if Lakitu doesn't score any points. Netsky needs to finish third for him to still be in contention, which is where he is now, but I'm sure Lakitu will rise up through the order a bit like a phoenix later on in this race. And I didn't expect us to do that reference. That tickled me, that. Yeah, anyway, Toxic is controlling this race at the front right now. I think he's just trying to do the right pace, so maybe Netsky can get into touch with him, and then maybe they'll pull a, excuse me, Fernando is faster than you kind of maneuver. I'm all over the place tonight with references. I'm in a great mood. This is awesome.
This is, I think we're both in a great mood as well. Russia, I think after the craziness of Russia in our race, and obviously watching this race as well, I think, can we go to Russia again, please? Can we go to Russia every week? Because I wouldn't mind this. But I know drivers are going to be like, Jess, just don't say that, because I know quite a lot of drivers absolutely hate this track. As we got Larkin all over the back of Cliffy, who doesn't need to stop, whereas Larkin does. So Larkin is up into 11, but look at this run from Calzo. He's got brilliant straight line speed. Looks like Cliffy's probably going to gain on the corners. He's going to attack on the right-hand side, maybe. Not much space, though. Cliffy stays behind, and he's up into P13. What about J-Luke on Lakitu? I know Lakitu's fast as well. This DRS train is growing and growing and growing by the minute at the moment. So I'm just saying on how many points Netsky would get if he stays what he is. He would be at 108 points, and I will keep an eye on the position for P15 at the moment as well from Lakitu. See how many points it would be, because they need to be 42-point gap in order for the championship to go another day. As Lakitu is doing all he can to make sure his fight goes on for that day too, as he gets past J-Luke eventually.
Yeah, it took him a little while, but I think the euphoria of seeing the championship slip-aways for Netsky is just in a great position, but for Lakitu, he's gonna have to channel his last season sort of mentality. He was in a bad position in one of the races last season, came back through the field, carved everyone open, and there's been a massive collision between Khalifa and Glock, and they are both out. That is a big one, and that is only a virtual. I'm surprised at that.
I only just caught what was in front because obviously I was on board with some of the other drivers, but I am surprised that there was no safety car. I thought that would have warranted a safety car. So that's promoted Lakitu up into 12. Lakitu's in the points. And because of Lakitu in the points, this could definitely go to next week as well, which I am so relieved about. We already had one championship decided tonight from one of the tiers. We don't want another one, please. So I think we kind of want things to technically stay as they are, but obviously we are impartial. Will people take advantage of the VSC and go in? Arnold does. He goes into the pit lane. He's got to hope that the VSC stays out for as long as he can. But it's going to be very, very close. Calzo has got the window pop up. I think we'll see what Alna could do, because that could be a really good strategy call. Oh, it's just come in. That would have almost been there, but he lost less time, to be fair. So I wonder if that was the right decision, but at least he's done his 2 stops and he doesn't have to stop one more time. And I'm just looking at the pit lane loss around this circuit. I'll just have a look at my data. 24.5 seconds. So he could jump quite a few people. So the race is far from over, but he probably will be, I think, in the top 10. So no harm. But if the VSC would have stayed out, he would have probably been like 12th or 11th or something. But we'll have to wait and see, of course.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see, absolutely, but that was the right call to do. It was his pit window anyway, so he thought I might as well pit a little bit earlier. Instead of going another lap, and definitely being last. Now he's got an outside shot of the final points of the day, and he's struggling to get the mediums up to temperature, and my voice is struggling to hold on, but this is a great race, and it shows no signs of slowing down.
Oh, yeah, and because of the collision earlier, Noah is up into second. We did not see that. Noah and Netsky having a bit of a battle there for P2 and P3. Noah's doing very well, but he has got a penalty, 5 seconds. I believe that's either safety car or speeding in the pit lane, so which is easy to do. I almost did it. I almost did it in Prospect. Thank goodness I didn't. As Fatality is doing, I have to say, very well. He's the one I'm not expecting. We could see an upset from him, but I know Vienna wants to try and get past these two, and he's not going to give up without a fight. And I have to say, man, I like the Phoenix Rising reference. I may use that more in my commentaries now. But anyway, Nikita now in 10th position. Is he doing like a Mexican Grand Prix comeback at the moment? Because that seems to be what he's doing, because he can still see majority of the cars in front of him, and if he doesn't get any penalties, then he could be still on for a good finish regardless. Imagine where he would have been without the issues he's had.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, without the issues, it's only down to your imagination where you think he would be, but in all that, Netsky has picked himself up a 3-second track limit penalty, so that makes things a little bit more interesting for people outside of that, especially for Lakitu and other championship contenders. So yeah, if there's a later safety car, that could definitely throw some points away for Netsky, but at the moment it's just the one and he's looking comfortable.
Yeah, at the moment I think Toxic is doing the right thing, helping his teammate there as well, potentially, because he's in the lead, obviously helping to do his duties for the Constructors' Championship too. And there's drivers that you were not expecting to do well that are doing well too, that can possibly be an outside threat in stopping some drivers closing to the championship. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, with Khalifa and Glock out of the race, I believe Khalifa is now eliminated from the championship hunt. I'm not sure about Glock. I think Glock is still in it if Netsky finishes 11th or lower. So if the things stay as they are, Glock will also be eliminated from the championship race too. But at the moment, as it stands, no matter what happens, Khalifa is now out of the championship.
Yeah, and that's unless I think he may still be out even if Netsky has a problem and doesn't score any points. It's going to be difficult with Khalifa out of the race. He needs to finish at least 6th minimum, and he can't do that, so that would officially eliminate him from the championship contention. But Larkin, Kozo and Lakitu all in a line trying to fight for real estate, and one of these is going to trip over the other. They're not careful, especially around this tricky final sector. But I'm going to stay on board with Lakitu and track his progress, as this could be very, very huge for the championship.
Fatality, no! Fatality, the driver that's been doing so well, is on a 3-second time penalty. I think that's his first penalty at this moment in time. But I'm just going to check to see how everybody is doing with their tyre wear, especially the drivers who are on the hard compounded tyres. That'll be interesting to see what their tyres is at the moment. So I'll have a look at that. Oh, Vitali was almost going to go for a move into turn 4 on Tomar. That would have been good as well. Toxic is around about the 20 to 25% mark on his tyres. Nell's on 29% on his tyres, so he's the one that's faring the least right now, the ones on the mediums. Out of the ones on the hards, obviously Cliffy's on 2017, 2018. Arnaud is 9.798. So Arnaud doing quite well. And on our tally, he's saying Arnaud's twice, but it's not his Conzo. And it's because quite a few drivers joined late. So that's probably why Tad has been playing up a bit recently. But there we go. That's what's happening at the moment. And Netsky's looking very, very quick. He's got a championship to win.
Oh, yeah, and Lakitu has noticed a little bit of contact between Kyle and Calzo, and he tried to dive down the inside of Kyle, and he just couldn't quite get the move done. But he's looking very strong in the final sector, as Kyle's just struggling to get back up to speed after that little incident killed all of his momentum, and I'm pretty sure Lakitu will get past into the braking zone into turn 2.
Yeah, that was very, very tight, I think, from Lakitu and Carl. I don't think they've got damage from that, but here comes Tomar and Fatality into turn 2. Fatality is doing all he can just to hold on, because we do know that a crossover point is going to be very, very soon. Tomar has the ERS to play with. Fatality does not. Tomar could seize the opportunity right now and take it, but he's not going to take it right now. Heading towards turn 5 now. Another look. No, not quite. He's got to go for the move because he has the most durable tyre. But he is not. So it's going to be a very hard situation. Or maybe he's waiting to be where he's going to be on the softer tyre later on, whilst Fatality will have to go on into the mediums, most likely, unless he did start on the mediums, which, to be fair, if he did start on the mediums, then game on, I would have to say, for Fatality. I'll have a look on Taz, because I do believe it tells you on Taz what tyres he started on. Oh, he did start on the mediums. So he's going to do a medium soft. He could be on for a legitimate, really good points finish. And to be honest, for the first few races, he hasn't scored any points. But for the last few races, he's been on point streak after point streak after point streak. So he's getting used to scoring points. Obviously, some races he has been as good as others. But it's looking like, from the way he's driving, that Fatality likes Russia.
Well, it's certainly looking that way, isn't it? And that's all great to him. He had a bit of a tough start to the season, didn't score many points, and now all of a sudden you can't keep him out of them, and that's brilliant to see. And Lakitu did get that move done, by the way, for P9, and now he's going to try the same move on Calzo into the same corner to try and get into P8. And he's about to go for it into turn 1. Calzo goes a little bit defensive, and that is enough to keep Lakitu behind him for at least another quarter of a lap.
The app is going to be, I think, quite a while, before Calzo is probably going to defend from Lakitu when Lakitu actually potentially gets him, because I think it's going to be a question of when, not if, I think, at the moment. So we will watch out, I think, as close as we can to keep an eye on how your favourite driver is doing, of course. And we're already we're already halfway into this race. That's how quick it's gone. Russia's probably won a very short track, I have to say, but I've been enjoying it so far. It's been a really, really good race, and the driver that you're probably not expecting to be on the podium is in P2. Could be on the cusp of keeping that, but obviously Netsky's got a penalty as well, so it's Fatality, so anything can happen in Russia. We do head to France next week, and then we go to Brazil. So, 2 very different tracks after this one, as Fatality goes and stops for one final time. Please don't speed in the pit lane, and he does not. Very good pit entry, not too fast and not too slow either, so not too bad. I did see a Mercedes come in. That is Toxic, so he's going to come out probably into some traffic, actually, which probably won't help, but Netsky will have to stay out at once. I'm sure Noah would want to respond to that as well, as Netsky, I think, is got past now, up into P2.
Yeah, and of course, in all that, Lakitu also puts on the soft tyre, so he's going to be giving it absolutely everything he's got to try and get back up into the top 6. Perhaps Winetsky still to pit again. Does going longer give him that opportunity to get further away from Lakitu, or will that bring Lakitu back further to him in the chase? There's only one way to find out, and that is stay right here, because this is bubbling up nicely and it's going to be a grandstand finish.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely going to be something to remember, I have to say, for these drivers. But, you know, I mean, we've seen some upsets in Russia, in real life, of course. Well, we saw Bottas took his first win. That was, I would say, quite a highlight. I think he's a driver that tends to like Russia as well. Good old Bottas. But we got Netsky and Noah going into the pits then. Oh, that was almost contact there, but we're gonna watch let's watch for Toxic actually out in the pits as well. I think Arnold did the right thing pitting when he did, because he's jumped quite, I think he's gonna jump quite a few people out of it, so we'll see, as Toxic does not want to be in traffic right now, so Netsky may come out ahead, we'll see. Noah, I think, may have been held up in the pits, but watch out for Netsky. Toxic is ahead. J-Luke's ahead as well. What about Arnold? Arnold is not ahead of Noah, but Arnold is ahead of Noah, sorry, but I'm sure Noah's going to get him very, very soon, so do watch out, as Taz is not letting me correct the names from Condor and Arnold, which is a bit of a annoying thing. It's just playing up at the moment, so we do apologise about that, but hopefully it fixes itself soon. But on lap 18, Tom is now your race leader, but again he will have to stop. What? No, he doesn't need to stop once actually. It's Toxic gets past Cliffy. Everyone has made their mandatory stop, but question is, will the tyres make the duration? I'm just going to have a look at the data. I don't think they could. Meves last 22 laps. Potentially it can, so I would say game on. That's how it's important. Tyre deg is just so long here that you could make the mediums or the soft last forever. So you know, Tom could be on for his second win, as Toxic could get past Konzo onto the left hand side and towards the penultimate few corners. That is turn 17 and 18. And yep, he's got it, and he's got the fast lap of the race as well, so great to see.
He has, but Lakitu just got himself a penalty as well in P13. That slightly early sub didn't work out for him, and Netsky is in P9, which, let me just remind everyone, means that Calzo needs to win, and Vienna needs third or fourth with the fastest lap, as Khalifa's eliminated, as we know, unfortunately for him, and Glock's also out, so that's Calzo and Vienna need to finish first and third, and that's not happening either, so that's another couple of contenders out.
Yeah, I think we could have, I would say, I think the only ones in it will be Netsky, Lakitu, Toxic, Larkin, and Noah. I don't even know. That could be interesting, as Konzo has got a penalty. Watch out for Cliffy. Watch out for Cliffy. That's all I can say. He just needs to stop. He's got no penalties. If there's a safety car, watch out for him, I have to say. And he's right on the back of Konzo as well. So I'm excited to see what he could do for Cliffy as well. He's I called him a Italian masterclass after last week. I was going to give him driver of the day, but Matt nicked it. Joking. Yeah, he likes starting at the back and finishes in a high position. But usually if you start at the back, usually you try to avoid the carnage. Obviously, we talked about Demon in Prospect earlier, who usually likes starting at the back. He's not here tonight, obviously, but he usually starts at the back and he usually gains positions no matter what. So that's what Cliffy's doing, and he wants to have a bit of fun on the final round of the game cycle. Goes to the right-hand side into turn 2. Brilliant job from Cliffy, but Konzo's going to fight back. Heading towards turn 3. The heavy swoop then under Series Central, I got to say. And Konzo got the switchback of dreams up into P6. But I have to say, that move into turn 2 from Cliffy, bravo. But Konzo, with that switchback move, did brilliantly. So the two of them really proud as well. But J-Luke is still in this fight as well, considering that he had damage earlier on. He's also, this race is also playing to the hand as well, but he's also got Netsky, Noah, Lakitu, Fatality, Arnold, and Carl chasing. So it's going to be one of those races where I do not know who's going to win. We've got Calzo in this fight as well. Oh my god, I'm loving this race so far. This may be turning into our race of the season. Here comes Larkin on Toxic, or Toxic on Larkin, sorry, on those softs. And he could be chasing for the race victory here today. But don't forget, he does have penalties. It is easy to get penalties, like I said. Trying to get heat into those tyres. Netsky does get past J-Luke, as I was alluding to earlier as well. So the delta is considerably massive compared to the hards. Around about around about 2 seconds, I would say, between the softs and the hards. And 6/10 between the mediums and the hards. So a bit of a difference. Obviously, Calzo gets past Vienna. What about Netsky on Cliffy? Quite comfortable. So Netsky is up into P7.
Yeah, and that again changes things in the permutations. Just having a quick check there. Vienna needs to finish 2nd or 3rd. And he's currently 3rd, so that keeps him alive.
Yeah,
but
indeed.
Only just.
Yeah, only just, but next week they will need to win. They will need to win in order to potentially, with Netsky obviously not scoring, which, when does Netsky not score? I think that's why he's in the lead of the championship, because obviously the key to didn't score in one race, whereas Netsky is being consistent. Consistency is what wins you championships. That's why Kingen is your prospect tier champion. And for those of you that did not see the results earlier, so big congratulations to him. The only championship that's been decided tonight. We still got four more tiers to decide, and also we got 5 more constructors to decide as well. So plenty still to watch out for, of course. We haven't bothered doing the constructor permutation because A, there's too much math, and B, I doubt the constructors will be decided tonight anyway. So that's why we haven't bothered at the moment. But Vienna is in a very good position in order to stay in this fight, which is easier said than done, of course. We'll obviously keep an eye on our championship standings as we continue to course. There's Calzo under pressure from Vienna. Calzo could be on for a repeat of his Belgian Grand Prix performance where he got a podium on his first race as well. He could be on course for driver of the day. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers not to get a penalty, which is fair play. I'm going to see if anyone has got warnings, because if people got warnings, then it doesn't count. So everyone's got warnings. So, okay. We've got Vienna that's closing up onto a warning. So is Larkin. Tomar's on 1. Noah's on 2. So, apart from Tomar, who's only on 1 warning, everyone that's got no penalties is very, very close into getting one. So, they've got to be careful in these last few laps.
Yeah, and I think in other tiers you've seen how much the pressure's increasing in the final few laps, and that is where people push a little bit more, and potentially that slaps them with another penalty. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. I think that's Cole's having an absolute nightmare today. Bless him, but he's kept it out of the wall. Has he got damage? Don't think he does. If it is, it's very, very minimal.
Oh, Toxic at Vienna. Toxic gets past Vienna up into 3rd. So the win is still in sight for the Mercedes driver. I'm almost certain Toxic's going to stay in his championship fight after this. He's definitely doing what he needs to do. He is ahead of his championship rival as well, so he's doing all he can. I wonder if he could jump ahead of all the other drivers as well. But here comes Toxic on those fresher softs. I don't think Calzo's going to challenge that, I don't think. But Toxic's running out of ERS. Calzo's got plenty, so I think it could be advantage Calzo. And that's why Toxic just could be hold up so quickly. Oh my goodness, that is very, very tight, to say the least.
Well, yeah, you can certainly put it that way, and Lakitu's just trying everything he can to get back into the top 10, but at the moment he just can't catch up quickly enough to Noah in 10th, so Lakitu's not having a great race, and I don't necessarily think he's done anything wrong today. He's just strategy went against him, like it went against a lot of people earlier, and of course it somehow ended up with so many shock results in the prospect here. And as you say, I hadn't even realised that could have been over today with Kingan winning there, so that's congrats to my former teammate. Let's hope his magic rubs off on me and I can get up the grid. But anyway, back to this week. Carl just got another penalty, which is something I'm quite familiar with that feeling today. But Noah's still hanging on in there for P10. Lakitu is doing everything he can, and he's trying different lines. He's trying everything to try and put the car off to make him into a mistake, but Noah's having absolutely none of it.
Yeah, Noah, I have to say, is doing all he can. He's got no penalties. He's got nothing to lose at the end of the day, so he's going to try his best out of all costs to gain penalty position. And that's Larkin that's got a penalty. So he had no penalties. He did say he could keep it clean. I think a few drivers were asked in the pre-race interviews how many penalties is enough or something like that. I think that's what people were saying as well. Some people were putting random numbers. I think that was one in the prospectus. Someone put random numbers as well. I was having a look through and I was like, okay, that was interesting. And when I answered it, I was like, I don't know, because anything could happen around here, and it usually does. And it's like Austria, where if you get loads of penalties, then it could cost you. It's a bit strict around there, to be fair, as Cliffy could be on for an amazing result here. If he could get past Konzo, I think he's going to get P7, I think, because there's so many drivers ahead of him, but I don't think the gap warrants it unless there's going to be a safety car, which I doubt it. Toxic is 1.4 seconds shy of Tomar now, but then after that you'll need to be 3 seconds clear of Tomar to win the race. So do you think Tomar could get his second win in the top tier?
I mean, it's looking very increasingly likely, but you can never really know what's about to happen with handling or whatever. But yeah, the question was, how many corner cuts is too many around here? And I liked a lot of the answers. One of them is almost every one of them. That's pretty good, actually. Konzo, the man I'm looking at in this battle with Cliffy for P7, replied with almost every one of them. But yeah, it's always good to see drivers thinking of different sort of permutations in their own mentality as well. And I think that's the best part about OneHubRacing, is it gives drivers an opportunity to do that. If they're hello.
Oh, there's
where's he come from?
Oh, look at this. We've got Cliffy versus Noah versus Lakitu out of nowhere as well. I don't think it's going to make much difference, but Lakitu is on the pressure soft. This reminds me of Monaco with Senna versus Mansell. Even with the fresher tyres, it's really hard to try and get past due to the dirty air, but I think Lakitu is going to straight line past Cliffy. I don't think Cliffy's going to challenge that, which he is not. As long as he can keep up to the pace of Lakitu, it shouldn't be a problem. And we have got some really intense fight now between Noah and Konzo as well. My oh my, this has been action non-stop. It hasn't been very, very quiet at all, to be fair. And one is going to be the same, obviously, next week when we head to France, which hasn't been good in real life, but really good in league racing. In, obviously, the Pinnacle tiers. I've watched a few Pinnacle tier races around France, and they've been generally very good. As Netsky's worried about being pressured by Calzo, because obviously he wants to be as close enough to his teammate as possible. We've got Renault versus Mercedes at the front, Renault versus Mercedes for the last podium slot. So I'm almost certain that both of those teams are working together. Oh, Kyle's got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So if Kyle's not careful, he's going to get a disqualification, unfortunately, which is not what he wants. But I think Arnold has got a 6-second penalty, but I don't think that's going to make a difference as he pits for Sauce. Here comes Toxic for the lead. Toxic for the lead of the race, but he's left it to the last possible moment because it's going to be hard to get 3 seconds. Arnold picking himself a 3-second time penalty once again, so that's up to 9 seconds down the road now. And don't forget, the one with the most fastest laps in overall actually will get a pair of 3M Sim Racing gloves, and also with a driver with the most pole position. So quite a few people in contention, of course. And if we have people tied for the most pole positions, then we'll put them into a wheel at the end of the season. If not, if it's just one person that has the most, then that person will get it. It's as simple as that. So on the final lap then, it's going to be tough for Toxic to pull the gap that he needs to. Tom R is not going to give up without a fight. I'm just going to check to see if he's pushing this lap because we can see the fuel mixtures. I'm shocked. Tom R is not pushing. Toxic is, but not Tom R. Tom R is on medium fuel mix at the moment.
Wow. Arnold wants some glory. He's going to take it with the fastest lap down there in... where is he in the race? He's P13, so that's fastest lap outside the top 10. Fastest lap of anyone, of course, but he's coming at close to fatality. He's being held up by this battle between Cliffy and Conzo. Still have not switched position, and Cliffy's just doing everything he can just to stay there. He knows he's going to get a position anyway due to the lack of penalties that Cliffy has, and that's always a good tactic to implement. Arnold's pushing so hard. He's got another penalty there. He's picked up 2 in the last few laps, but we are on the last lap, and this could be one of the races of the season when you look back and think, when was the championship decided? It could well be this race here that decides it, but oh no! I don't know if he's done that on purpose.
Toxic spins and wins the race on track, but it's Tom R that takes his second win in the top tier. Brilliant job from him. Netsky in 3rd, Vienna in 4th, Calzo in 5th, Larkin in 6th, Noah in 7th, Lakitu in 8th, Konzo in 9th. Oh, so Cliffy is up to 9th. Konzo in 10th, J-Luke in 11th, and once again, Fatality gets a point. I know it may not be the points that he was hoping for, but a point's a point. So a big congratulations to him. So it gives me a chance to look at the permutations. So Netsky finished in 3rd. Did he get fastest lap inside the top 10? Let me have a look.
Don't think he did.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
No, Lakitu got fastest lap. Okay, yeah. So Lakitu got fastest lap inside the top 10. So Noah, Jules, Josh, Calzo and Vienna are eliminated, as well as Khalifa, who retired. Tom must finish 2nd. Well, he's won the race, so Tom is still in the fight. Glot is eliminated. Larkin must finish 9th or 10th. Larkin finished 6th, so Larkin's still in this fight. So we got Netsky, Toxic, Lakitu, Tom, and Larkin going into the final 2 rounds still in the championship fight.
Yeah, that is quite an incredible stringer of happenings today. It looked like he was going one way, then the other, and then the pendulum swung again, and then all of a sudden you have Lakitu just throws it up into the top 10 to live another day, but Netsky is absolutely on top of everyone at the moment, and he's dominating at the front, and just goes to show he doesn't even need to win to extend his lead.
Yeah, exactly. I think he wasn't fighting for the lead at that point, to be honest. As long as he can stay ahead of Lakitu is all that matters. So, Tomar wins from Toxic, Netsky, Vienna, Calzo, Larkin, Noah, Lakitu, Cliffy, and then Konzo. Then we've got J-Luke and Fatality being your final point scorers, with Arnold and Kyle being your last finishers, and your only 3 retirements, Glock, Khalifa, and Chris. And it was quite a bit of a crash, I have to say, as well. I wonder if the championship is updated. I think it's gonna take a while for it to update, I think, and I'm just gonna check the standings right now. I'm gonna compare it to obviously the graphic that we have got. Here's a health updated. So before we go to the driver of the day, which we will do in a second, we will go through. We'll go through your standings as of this race. So Netsky is leading, 108 points to Lakitu 76. So that is a 32-point gap. So Lakitu needs a miracle to keep the fight in Brazil. Larkin in third, 71. Tomar fourth, 70 points. Vienna 5th on 56. Glock 6th on 52. Actually, Toxic is out of the fight. I thought Toxic wasn't, but he is. I do apologise. And then we got Khalifa, then Toxic, then Noah, Jules, Josh, Rafa, Arnold, Konzo, Cliffy, Carl, Fatality, Jules, J-Luke, and Chris. Now is our moment of opportunity. It's time for us to pick both of our drivers of the day. It's going to be a tough one due to the fact that it's been a good race so far. Well, tonight. So I'll hand it over to you, Matt. Who's your driver of the day, and what would you like to ask them?
Well, it's standard lines out of my mouth every week. There's quite a few possibilities, as you can see. You have Calzo started 16th, finished 5th, Vienna 13th, finished 4th, but I think the perseverance should be rewarded, and for that I am going to have to go slightly outside the box, which might confuse everybody, maybe anger some people on the internet, but I don't care. I'm gonna give some support and the moment to a Fatality. And the question I'm going to ask him is, you seem to epitomise everything that we like to see in OneHubRacers. You never give up and you keep going. Did you think you could get a little bit more than 1 point today, or are you just happy to get that 1 point?
I like that the underdog gets the driver of the day nominations. I like it. So I hope people like it as well. I'm sure Fatality will love you after that. So that makes my driver of the day, I think, even more difficult. But I'm torn between quite a few people. Obviously, Vienna started 13th, finished 4th, honourable mention as well. Cliffy, who's gained 6 places, Konzo 4. I'm torn between the two Renault drivers, but I'm going to have to give it to Tomar because it's his second win in OneHub. He held up Toxic with his medium tyres. Toxic was on the softs, Tomar was on the mediums. And my question is, how hard was it to keep Toxic in your sights, knowing that Toxic has a penalty and you being on the harder tyres? So that is my question. So you can vote for your driver of the days tomorrow when the poll goes live, either tonight or early tomorrow morning. But we're going to leave you to enjoy the rest of your evening, because all the Russia races have now been completed. Still 2 more races to be decided, still the driver and the constructors to be decided in Pinnacle. It will most likely potentially be decided next week if Netsky bottles it, but I don't think he is. So Netsky's just going to keep his consistency, and I think Netsky will probably have one hand on the championship trophy next week. But you never know. Anything can happen, Matt.
Anything can happen, and just before we go, I'd like to thank our wonderful sponsors here at OneHubRacing. You have Liam RBS, who sponsors all the trophies, and you have Next Level Racing, who giving away the Sim Light Rig to the winner of the giveaway. You have Vespertine, who are our wonderful partners here, and then you have Time to Print 3D with 20% off with this week's track, which is obviously Russia, with the code OneHubRacing, and then you have the ERT Go and Get Stuff Awards, with the drivers doing all interviews, attending all races, and doing every pre-post and any rivalries and stuff they're called up for. And the final one, which you mentioned briefly earlier, is the Free M, who are giving a pair of M-Sim gloves to the winner of the most fastest laps and the most pole positions in the league, and that is quite an amazing prize. Would they give it to the same person if it's the same person that does both, or?
I don't know, to be honest. That's something I don't know. I'll have to ask Nick on that one, because he's in charge of that as well. So we shall see, of course. But there'll be more permutations for us to go through next week. Unfortunately for some, fortunately for others. But I think it's going to be less detailed, I think, because there's only going to be a few drivers in it. So less for us to worry about, because quite a lot of drivers are eliminated from the championship contention. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it is next week. And we got so excited about the action, we did forget to mention the sponsors. So thankfully Matt got that out of the way. So we will see you same time next week at around about 8:30, 8:25 for the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard under Series Central Circuit, I have to say. Maybe it may have some rain. It is common to be raining around this circuit, or will it just be a dry race like we saw today? We will find out very, very shortly. Apologies about the technical difficulties at the start of the stream with the audio, but we did get it sorted for the race, which is all that matters really, isn't it? So we will see you next week. Have a good evening and goodbye.